we are pretty glad that we've made it, because nowadays we can feel the not only commercial perspective on it, but as well social impact, significant one. And product itself is much more complicated than VR headset. So we are talking about the application which is running in VR headset, which consists of set of experiences or practices which can be delivered to the patient and statistically significantly reduce symptoms of depression, anxiety, increase overall feeling. And that is the work of our psychological department, which joined the company from the first day of the pivot development. So there is pretty solid scientific background. Then, beside the positive impact, therapeutical impact on the patients, or it is properly to name them clients in psychological terms, our solution allows clinics to scale psychological services. So basically there is an application on mobile phone which allows therapists to launch experiences or programs simultaneously on multiple headsets and serve at a time kind of 20 patients. And considering that one headset could accept 20, 30 customers per day, one therapist basically can serve up to 600 clients a day, which is probably, what is the number? 120 times more in comparison to the traditional approach. We are not treating the trauma. We are offering instrument to the therapists, which allows him to simplify work on the symptoms of the trauma, offload him and use technology to scale the services. Trauma is left for the therapist. It's kind of jewelry work and requires personal communication. There is no AI model which can cope with it.
Right. So you mentioned the scientific approach, and could you please elaborate on it more? So do you collaborate with Ukrainian academia? As far as I know, you're in partnership with the Ukrainian Catholic University. At least you have the research done in collaboration with them, right? With a psychologist from the Ukrainian Catholic University, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. But first of all, we are relying on our own forces and capabilities. Our psychologists are extremely experienced. So having the PhD in psychology, having the 10 years of experience of rehabilitation. So the war in Ukraine is already here for more than 10 years. And we've started collaboration with and verification of our ideas with one of the most innovative rehabilitation center in Ukraine, which has name Lisova Polyana. And through the research there and constant verification of our practices and exercises, we can be sure that it can be used safely with a positive effect in other clinics. And of course, we do have great interest in collaboration. So Ukrainian Catholic University, we do have a partnership with them and several researchers were conducted in cooperation with UKU. We are working with the National University named after Taras Shevchenko. We are starting collaboration with universities in United States and in Europe. So in general, I would say our capability to work with such a massive quantity of traumatized people unfortunately brings enormous possibilities, enormous and unique possibilities to the researchers around the globe to understand better behavior of traumatized people and how it can be affected efficiently.
So thank you. And I have the next questions a bit related to this topic. Have you already faced some challenges in integrating VR technologies with mental health treatment? And if yes, how have you overcome them?
Starting from the bringing psychology approaches itself into quite complicated from the user experience perspective device is a challenge. So it requires really close collaboration in between three departments, which are psychological one, department of video production, and engineering department. Sometimes it goes into rounds and into many iterations. It is quite complicated to integrate innovation into the medical sphere overall, as it's naturally very conservative. So the reason for that is that workers of medical spheres really trying to avoid unverified innovations. They are relying on the tools, instruments, processes, which has been proven for many years to be efficient. But in our case, it's just a necessity. So we do have millions of people with whole variety of the symptoms of mental disorders, and it's mandatory for the future of the nation, basically, to bring technology to scale services, to find alternatives to traditional ways. So for a year and a half, it was quite difficult to penetrate and making installations. Even all activities in Ukraine is a charity ones. Still, it was complicated. We performed multiple trials and pilots in order to reach to the point that nowadays clinics are approaching us and basically asking for full support.
Right. It is very difficult to integrate technology in, like, I believe, almost every industry and sphere, but medical spheres specifically, documented, kind of, regulated in this case. So it might be a challenge, right? But what are some of the most rewarding outcomes you've seen from maybe people, from your clients, right, who are using your VR solutions?
I probably can give a few examples of the effect we are bringing. So there was a case when we've met in a rehabilitation center veteran, and he was kind of selected by the head of the psychological department to trial the product. And after 7 minutes of exercise, he said to myself and Max that it's actually quite a nice thing. I probably could use it before going to sleep to overcome insomnia. He stand up and then started to talk about all things which worries him, starting from his family. He cannot return to the army because he lost an arm, and he doesn't see perspective, and there are many things related to the children he worries about. So it was like a flow of the disturbing and really sad thoughts. We really didn't expect it, and after he left, we received the feedback that this guy didn't talk to the doctors for kind of 2 weeks, and it is the first time he opened up. There was a case when after passing the course of Luminify VR therapy, there were women who said that nowadays it's kind of possible for them to overcome panic attacks because they just clearly remembered breathing exercises which are part of Luminify program, and they're just extremely thankful for that. There were feedbacks from therapists that they do not see any more therapy without application, without using Luminify, which is a product of Aspichi.
Yeah, sure. Like Mantis Analytics, it's a situation awareness and threat intelligence platform, like powered with AI, right? So basically, we help companies and government organizations like manage risks, both like physical and informational, using AI.
As far as I understood, so you as a team actually gathered as volunteers in March 2022 to probably be useful and, you know, utilize the expertise that you have. Can you share a little bit of background of that story?
We started as a startup like absolutely organically, right? Without any plan, because full invasion of Russia has been started, and you remember this like first months of shock and these questions that we asked everybody, like and each other, like and themselves, like how can I help in the following situation, right? And we decided to help with our experience, right? Because you know, our whole team has experience to building AI, data platform solution, data analysis, and so on. For example, I did that all my life, right? And like in parallel with the physical confrontation, like huge informational war has been started. You remember, like first weeks, like all the media like flooded with disinformation, with deepfake videos and so on. And we decided to help our government to be more resilient in the following situation using AI technologies. So in this case, we just started as a volunteer organization. We started to work with National Security, Council of Ukraine, other like government institution, just with a main mission to help them be more resilient.
Yeah, probably one of the main points at early stage of startup is who are the co-founders, how long they work together, right? Can you also tell us a little bit of how you actually met your co-founders, whether you have some past work experience together, and how, you know, three of you actually collided to create Mantis Analytics?
Let's like first of all, we have three co-founders. I'm Maxim as a CEO of the company. Astap, he is CTO of the company, and Anton, he is CMO and expertise lead in the company. So with Ostap, I think we met about 12 years ago or something like that, because we worked on the big project in the Deutsche Bank, just on fraud detection system, also using AI, and we worked like several years, so we know each other like very well. So in this case, just first candidate in mind for the CTO position, it was Ostap, so I immediately invite him, and it's very cool that he immediately agreed on this proposition. With Anton, we met at the beginning of previous year, because he was doing some kind of similar media monitoring project about mentions of Ukraine in Western media. So we connected with this project, and after that, we just understood that we're on the same page, and let's start to work together. And that's how the story began between founders.
Yeah, right. So basically, for you guys, you wanted to volunteer to help the country in the situation, to counter the disinformation in a way, right? And eventually you understood that we can make business of it, or start a startup based on the expertise, idea, and first early traction. Do you have a specific point in time when you said, okay, now we are a startup doing business, not a group of volunteers?
Yeah, it's very interesting point, and I think it's very actual point for the startup industry itself, especially startups which were in the wartime, right? Because first years is a lot of volunteer initiatives, but in some time you need to start some kind of transformation because you cannot be volunteer forever. I think everybody is understands that. Basically, such kind of point of transformation happened exactly in 1 year after we started as a volunteer organization, and it were several drivers for that. First of all, I think one of the drivers that I finished my previous work in previous startup, and after that I just started to think what to do next, and I just think, oh wow, we have a very good, powerful team. We have a great mission, which is very important, because frankly speaking, in our career, most of the places do not have proper vision, right? Which can be easily communicate, right? But in case of Mantis Analytics, for me it was very simple just to communicate this mission. First of all, for myself, right? And also just I understood that the problem is relevant. I was sure about government, about our organization around government, that there is demand, but also I have some kind of hypothesis about corporate sectors that we can successfully scale, and such kind of factors. It was enough for me just to say, okay, so our volunteer story is finished. From this point, we just started commercialization, and we started transformation to the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe for investors, right, it is also very important to understand that it's not a pet project or a side project, or a volunteering project, but a potentially very sustainable and high growth business. And you actually closed an early pre-seed round with South Ventures last year, and was announced just a couple of months ago. Maybe you can also shed a bit of light on the process behind that, how you approached, how you understood that you need investment, how you approach investors, and how quick in terms of timing was that negotiations with South Ventures.
We are now on the close line of our, we name it as a safe round, right? Or we can name it as a pre-seed round. So totally we're raising about $500,000, and already we raised $185, and we have a commitment. We have a commitment for $300. So hopefully we will close our round soon. And now a little bit of insights of the fundraising process, because my background is product management. I spent almost all my life on a product management position, on head of product, on project management. But the main difference that when you became a CEO, you start to have such kind of fundraising experience, because it's absolutely impossible to have it on a position like a product manager or head of product. And so it was absolutely new experience for me. And as a startup founder, I started from some kind of romantic phase, right? That, oh, wow, we have absolutely cool startup. I will raise everything in 10 minutes and so on and so on. But what I recognize is that fundraising is a really hard and routine work, right? So I cannot count how many calls with investors I did. I think it's more than several hundreds for the last time period. So what I want to mention here and maybe suggest for early startup founders. So first of all, do everything not only on logical level, because we have some kind of frameworks, how to make a pitch, how to formalize your early traction and so on. Yeah, it's everything important, but also try to find some kind of resonation with your first investors and so on, because some things on the early stage are not fully logical, right? You just feel something after the call that is your investor, that is your person, because investment on early stage is mostly about believing in team, believing in mission, believing in something like that, because you cannot verify all the numbers and so on and so on. So in this case, such kind of early work on investment, for me, it's 50-50, 50 logical and 50 about emotional intelligence, just understanding what do you feel for the every call and so on. And I'm happy that we found this resonation, and we are on the closing line on this our first round in very tough condition. We can say it's absolutely directly that now raising money for the early stage startup, especially in Ukraine, it's very tough job, basically.
Yeah, I guess in general, doing business and doing a startup in such conditions is hard. It requires a lot of resilience and, not giving up. And especially fundraising, when you play a game, when you hear probably hundreds people say, no, I don't believe in the idea, or no, it's not for us, or no, there is a red flag of some kind, but still keeping that, in a way, passion, in a way, energy, in a way, resilience, to get to the level, then you start receiving, yes, we're in, we believe into that. We believe that that's an opportunity for us. So that's something that I we need to empathize in a way a lot to founders and to CEOs who spend hours and hours every day receiving no, and then finally having some interest from investors and taking the round. Can you probably tell a bit more on kind of your typical day in terms of fundraising, right? How much time it usually takes or took in general for the last, I assume, half a year, or maybe a couple of months at least?
First of all, you need to structure process, and I'm trying to structure that as much as possible, because, as I say, mostly it's a routine process, right? And I don't think it's it's possible to fully automate that, but just to formalize as much as possible, it's very important. So I'm using an SRM, so from the first day, right? And I suggest that to the all early stage founders to use CRM, because anyway, sometime you need to migrate, and as early you start, as better. The next, I think a lot of time I spend like initially on this such kind of follow-up process, because what I recognize is that people now is a element of communication, and like sometimes you need to do like several follow-ups just to get initial like intro call and so on, and it's very important to be like very personalized in such kind of follow-up. So in this case, I'm not sending like some kind of similar messages. Like always, I'm trying to find some kind of approach to person, find some like personal trigger to connect with this person. So in this case, it's first of all some kind of outreach. The second, it's calls. And on the latest stages, it's a due diligence process, it's a creation of data rooms and so on. So I think last half of year, I spent like in average like 2-3 hours per day for fundraising process.